your relationship, Elizabeth and Vaughn. Elizabeth, you've been very open about looking past Vonzail's history. Now, he dated
Yes.
men in the past, and was
Yes.
that difficult for you? And kudos for you to you. I mean, that's a very interesting dynamic there. So
It
let's talk
is.
about that because you said you thought he was gay, and that turned you off. That made you
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, it was a turnoff. But I think it goes back further because I was previously engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like about 10 years ago. And my ex-fiance did struggle with his homosexuality. And he, he cheated on me with a man. So when that happened to me, that was traumatic for me because that was someone that I was going to get married to, someone that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. So I made a decision to end things with him. And then I moved to LA, and it's a big sea of a plethora of different men, but it definitely made me guarded towards men. So I was approached by different men, but I was so guarded that my gaydar was strong. I was just like, I was picking them apart. The moment I saw something that was, remotely flamboyant or gay or whatever that looked like, ugh, I would push them away. You know what I'm saying? So God, my spiritual journey really, especially with God, as I began to, love myself and really, really um, search within, because I really had to do some soul searching because I was really just broken from that relationship and I didn't really heal properly. But with my singleness, because I was single for 10 years, but I was in situationships because ain't nobody perfect. But I had to go through this journey of really the standard that I wanted in a man, because you definitely want to, women, we still have to write down the things that we would like in a man and all those stuff, but I wanted to make them realistic to who God had for me. And so I had to go through some things on my own before God can bring him to me. Because if I wasn't ready, I would have rejected him because of his past.
So, Vonzail, I have to ask the question that I'm sure the viewers are thinking right now. So that was, you've dated men in the past. Do I call it, you're bisexual?
Well, I was bisexual.
So, okay. So moving forward, people will want to know, like, is it something that you could be like, okay, I'm done now and moving forward, that's it? Or do you have an open relationship? Like, do you still have the urge is gone? Or I'm being nosy. I don't know.
I appreciate that.
I want people to have an understanding that this is possible because I've had a conversation with my friends about this, about being open to this.
Yeah.
And I think this is fascinating that you would share this, and I really appreciate you like being okay to talk about this. So I don't want to be disrespectful in any way.
Oh no, not at all, not at all.
Okay.
That's why I appreciate this platform because we understand the purpose of our relationship.
Yeah.
And maybe in our ideal world, she wouldn't have picked me, I wouldn't have picked her.
Mm-hmm.
But because we know we have a God ordained relationship, being friends after we met, and I would go out to LA and work every year for the BET Awards. She invited me out to church into some BET after party events, and so I was at a place where because of my sexuality at the time, I was the person who I questioned who God was. I was done with church. And so I said, I don't want to go to the after party events and not, go to the church event. So
I invited him to church.
I went to church and I'm sitting here, I'm mad, like, God, why am I even here? I don't want to be here.
This was actually 2016, by the way.
And
well, do you feel excluded from church because of the messages sometimes? It must be tough feeling like, well, do I matter? Do you love me? Am I an abomination?
Yeah, I was raised in apostolic holiness. So I was raised in apostolic holiness.
Very religious.
And so growing up back then, it was always, God hate homosexuality, and so therefore, as a child, a young boy, I equivalated that to what God hates me, and so I sort of hated myself because being raised in the church where I come from a first family, my uncles are pastors, my grandfather was a pastor, all my aunts and my grandmother were first ladies of churches, and so I felt convicted, like, well, I know I'm a part of something that God hates, so God hate me. That turned into self-hate.
Right.
That turned into me being suicidal since I was at the age of 11 years old. And so when it comes to us getting together, at this point, I'm maybe 27, 28 years old. I go to her church and I'm like, God, why am I here? I don't want to be here. she starts ministering. In 2016 is the year that I officially came out. You know, I was no longer hiding it. I didn't care what the church thought. I didn't care what my family thought, what my friends thought. I'm Vonzail. I'm gay. You don't like it? Get the F out my face.
Yeah.
I was in a rebellious, place in my life. And so I'm like, God, why am I here? She's ministering. And God was like, I'm showing you purpose. That's your wife.
Wow.
And so in 2016, God told me she was my wife. And I rejected the thought because I'm like, God, you're not going to do this to me. Because, I'm being very transparent.
Just finally came out, and then to get the message, I'm sure you had to be like, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, God, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, what made me come out is the fact that I never wanted to live in secrecy. I'm not proud of it though, but just to be transparent, to let somebody out there know, your purpose is not forfeit because you messed up or you made a mistake.
Do you feel like that part of your life when you were bisexual or gay? Do you feel like that was a mistake, or do you feel like?
No, I don't feel like it was a mistake. No, because I was a guy who I slept with married men. I've been with pastors, the same ones who was cursing homosexuality was the same ones that was trying to get my number
a double life
and invited me to hotel rooms. And I said, God, I never want this to be my story. So if I'm gonna be gay, I'm gonna be gay. I'm not nobody's DL. And so when God told me she was my wife, I ran. Come like, even when I was living in, homosexual, the homosexual lifestyle, I still had attraction to females. I still desired to be a husband and a father to my wife's children. But I said, God, I'm not going to do it unless you do it. Because I've been with a lot of DL men, especially in the church. And I said, I would just be full-fledged gay than play both ways. And so it wasn't until 2019 where
last year
God really dealt with me as far as her being my wife. Even though I knew, I kept it as a friend zone. And it wasn't until I had a situation where I was very suicidal. And I had a cousin who I had wrote a suicide letter and put it on Facebook. 2018. And my cousin called me, and it was her voice that talked me out of suicide. 2 weeks later, she put a gun to her mouth and took her life. And so it was that moment I said, you know what, God, I surrender. And it wasn't about a gay thing, a straight thing. I was at a point in my life where I felt like I was losing control of me because I had let go of God's hand. All along, God was holding my hand. But because Vonzail moved to Atlanta, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I was, got caught up in sex parties and, the wildlife and this party and that party. And I knew this is not, even though I was comfortable with homosexuality, I was never at peace with it. I've always
so let me I'm trying to get the mindset right for the people that are watching. So you felt urges and you were in the lifestyle, the party and the fun, but it didn't feel like 100% comfortable, but you were still in it. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what do you think about this? This is powerful stuff that he's saying right now.
Ratings just went up.
It's so interesting. Like, it's fascinating. Like, it really is. I've never heard someone talk about it like this.
No, I've never heard.
I've heard everything. I'm not only am I a writer, but I don't know if you guys know, I was on a show called Noah's Ark, which was the first Black show on television.
Yeah.
Really some of my most important work, and I still get emails and DMs from various Black men, and there's such a stigma, and I personally, I don't believe in a God that feels like homosexuality is wrong or bad. I believe in love.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be. I personally wouldn't choose, or but I wouldn't choose that for a mate, someone that would be on the fence or have or even have that past, but.
And that's okay to feel that way too.
Yeah, that's okay.
Feel that way, but I believe that it's not marriage. Relationships are snowflakes. Each one is different. And what works for one, I have no judgment of what works for another, because it is not one size fits all. And their love and understanding is felt. We were able to talk before we started this call, and I got a feel for them. And they're just a beautiful couple that, and they're exploring their love and their lives. So I feel like where you guys are right now is perfect and beautiful. So kudos.
Thank you.
That level, like you guys have a level of honesty and like just vulnerable, like you're putting everything on the table.
Transparency is actually one of the strongest foundations of this relationship, because the moment we, like, like I said, there's so many layers leading up to us getting together.
Yeah.
But right before me, he was actually in a very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And I was in a situationship, and I was getting to this place where I was like, man, I really desire to be married. I really want a husband. So the end of 2018, when he just, it's so funny, he was dealing with his suicidal moments and all that stuff. God was also dealing with me about my husband. I didn't know who my husband was, but I knew that he was close. And so I wrote down, just like my brother did, I wrote down some of the things that I desired in my husband. And March 14, you guys, the most crazy but powerful thing happened. I started following this prophet from Kenya. I don't know him, never met him a day in my life. He was doing a Bible study on Facebook. And so I clicked on his Facebook just to see what he was preaching about, or what message he was sharing. Mm-hmm. This man saw my name pop up and he said, Elizabeth Komba, I want to pray for you. God wants to bless you. I hear that all the time because I'm from the church, like I grew up in the church. So I hear that all the time. So I was already skeptical, and I'm very skeptical about people that say they're prophets, because a lot of people call themselves prophets, and they be prophet lying. Okay. But I wanted to hear what he had to say. And he began to tell me about my husband, and he starts to describe Vonzail. He don't know Vonzail. He don't know me. He starts saying, I see a man. You know him very well. He has a beard. And I'm like, okay, I have lots of friends that have a beard. I'm thinking this in my mind. Okay. And then he says, this man used to have dreadlocks.
Wow. Specific.
I'm listening. I'm listening because I'm like, my mom was there, so she was a witness. I'm looking at my mom like, I don't know. Yeah. And then he said, I'm hearing a name like Vonzail. And I'm like, Vonzail? Mm-hmm. I'm like, that don't sound familiar. No. Seriously, we still have the video saved. We have it saved because it blows our mind.
You going through your Facebook, girl?
Listen, I'm a post. I got you, girl.
Right.
Listen, then he said, I see a family name like Odom. I'm seeing like O. I'm seeing like D. I'm seeing like OM. Odom. And anyway, for some reason, I don't know why I didn't know who he was talking about, but my mother, bless her soul, you guys. My mom got the revelation and was like, your friend, Vonzail. Wow. The one who comments on your page on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I typed and I told the prophet, I was like, I know who you're talking about. Vonzail Odom. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, we have some things in common. Yeah. We have the same birthday. We share some of the same, things that we like and stuff. And he said, I need to pray for that man because in 7 days, he has plans, the enemy has plans to kill him.
He said, I see a fight.
It was very deep. He said, I see a fight in the He was saying a lot of stuff, you guys, that just at the time didn't make sense. He said that in 7 days he sees that the enemy wants to kill him. So I'm like, this is really scary and odd, and I almost wanted to click out of it.
A lot of energy.
It was a lot of energy. It just and it honestly at the time it felt negative. I was like, this doesn't sound like God.
It was so crazy. She called me.
I called him after the prophetic word.
And when she FaceTimed me, I so happened to be in the hospital.
He was in the hospital, you guys.
And I was in ICU. When I ICU, they had moved me from ICU to observation. I had a fever of 107 that wouldn't go down. It would go down to 103, then shoot back up. And so she said, I need you to listen to this
prophetic word that I just got.
And call me back.
Yeah, because I was shocked that he was in the hospital. I FaceTimed him after the prophetic word, and he was in the hospital,
dying,
plugged up. And he looked sick.
When I watched the video, it's a lot that he said that was just confirmation to me. And one thing that he said that stuck out was, he said, Liz, I see your husband Y'all working in the music industry, acting, singing, production, but there's a demon standing between y'all. See, you and this man, there's a demon standing between y'all. And he said, I see a fight at a club that put him in a position to where it's meant to kill him. So make long story short, I was in a relationship with a guy. We went to the club three days before this prophetic word, and the scene got ugly.
Yeah.
At that moment, I was like, God, I'm done with this relationship. I'm done with this lifestyle. And I said I had to dissolve this relationship. And I told the guy, I'm done. You know,
so you could just like that, you can decide I'm done, and now I'm heterosexual, and I'm gonna be with a woman.
But no, it wasn't about a sexual thing. I was like, at that point, honestly,
you was done with that person.
No, I was just done with doing things the way Vonzail. I knew that I was at a place of where my face was turned away from God. You know, and I just said, God, I'm ready to be obedient and walk in whatever purpose, whatever's attached to me that is not conducive, that's keeping me from purpose. God, I made a choice to be obedient, you know, and he always dealt with me as far as Liz being my wife.
I didn't know that at the time.
You know, and so when she sent me that prophetic word, that was my confirmation. I ain't no more confirmation than that. I said, God, I surrender. God, whatever you want for me, I surrender.
Yeah.
You know, and
a few weeks went by after that, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a good friend. I didn't check up on him because I was still dealing with the situationship that I needed to let go of.
Yeah.
And
well,
so yeah.
It seems like you got the happy ending.
Listen.